Hey y'all. Hmm. I'm quiet because I'm promoting the video everywhere or the live stream. Hey Mo, hey D. I went live last week, but I hadn't went live since like over a month before last week. So it has been a while since I talked to you on live, but I also hadn't been going regularly. I'm trying to do better with that. So I'm trying to like post it and I'm about to share it on my main page so people know I'm on here. But how is everything going? D, how far along with you are you? Mo, how are you doing? Good to see you on live tonight. All right, I put it in my three places where I like to put it. On it, did you have Rona or you just have a flu? 100 days. I have not forgotten about your gift, D. I am going to send it, but every time I get ready to do it, something comes up. But I haven't forgot. 6 months. Oh my goodness. I feel like you just told me yesterday. Okay, well I hope you feel better. The weather has been really cold this week and rainy. Hi Veronica, how you doing? I'm glad you feel like it's going fast. I feel like pregnancy does go by pretty quickly. It's just that last part that doesn't, like when you're at month 9. I'm doing pretty good. No complaints for real. Just I'm grateful for upcoming time off with my family. And I'm also grateful for my growth. But I'm thinking about like my goals for 2023. And I'm also just trying to think about how am I gonna get there. I just feel sometimes there's not enough time in the day. And I sometimes wish that I knew more information than I do because I may be further along than I am, but I try not to be in that state where I'm always not like appreciative of where I am because when you have that mindset of I want to be somewhere else, you tend to forget like how far you've come from where you were before. And you tend to forget to give yourself grace and give yourself the praise or the recognition that you deserve for the things that you've already achieved. So it's like when I started this year, I didn't even have 10,000 subscribers. And right now, I'm at over 14,000 subscribers. So that in itself is me reaching one of my goals. Weight loss, that's another goal that I've been able to reach. Um, until you learn how to be happy with the progress that you've made currently, you won't be able to appreciate anything else because every time you reach a new milestone, you'll be so focused on trying to get to the next thing that you're not embracing and appreciating the journey. So I'm trying to appreciate while also trying to set up my next steps because I want to achieve much more than what I've already done. And I've been in this stage where I'm trying to figure out what's the best way for me to do that. Do I need to go back to school, pursue another degree? Do I want to start trying to pursue a business while I'm still working full time? Um, I'm thinking about hosting workshops for the first time, and I want to start them off with like a Zoom call and offer like sessions once or twice a month where I do like group classes to kind of teach people the things I've learned and then also do like channel assessments and stuff. But I want to make sure that whatever I'm doing is valuable to the people I'm doing it for. I feel like I give good information and I'm really thorough, but I don't want anyone to use a service from me and feel like they didn't get anything out of it. I've definitely invested in things like that and felt like I didn't learn much or they gave me information I already knew. And I already have like a rate card that I've been working on and I've been putting out there, but I've mainly been using it for promo and for like sponsorships. Next year, I want to get more into the coaching and like one on one sessions, group classes, things like that. I also want to get more into ways to make money passively. So I started doing some research today to understand ways to make more passive income because as I mentioned, sometimes I feel like I don't have enough time in the day. And if you start adding all these things that require you to actually do an action, that's just going to take away from time that I already don't have. So it's like if I can come up with something like almost like YouTube, where once I upload it and I put it up, it's done. And if people come to it, it makes me money. That would be the better way to go. I still want to try to get monetized on another platform besides YouTube, but currently YouTube is the main focus because that's where I'm already earning. And the attention that Instagram and TikTok and excuse me, I have the hiccups a little bit and Facebook require seems to be like more than what I have time to do. What I mean is like they want you to post like 3 reels a day or 2 reels a day and be getting X amount of views to just make $200 or $300 a month. That's a lot of work. Not to say that I'm not willing to put in the work. It's just that I already have a process in place over here that works. So it's kind of hard. How would you go about negotiating pay? I'm debating on taking a babysitting gig. It's overnight, so the kids will be asleep, and it's about 10 hours a night for 5 nights. They're offering 300, but that feels low. To me, that is low because overnight is after hours and you're pregnant. You won't always be pregnant. I don't know if it's like a temporary job that you're just going to do for like a few months, but the fact that it's overnight in itself is one issue. And then the other issue is that they're wanting 10 hours. So I'm going to pull out my handy dandy calculator on Google. So 300 divided by 10 is 30. But you just said 5 days a week, right? So like $6 an hour, that's less than minimum wage. So if you were just going to do minimum wage, 725 times 10 times 5, that would be 362.50. So I would say, well, I did 10 hours times 5 days, but if it's 50, it's the same 50. So that's 362.50. I would at least negotiate to where you're making an even or an odd 365. And I say that because um that's not minimum wage. And even 400, yeah, 400 would be fine too. Yeah, if you say 400 and she can meet you at 375, then that would be at least minimum wage. Like they said, the children are asleep, possibly, but like, what if they wake up? That's and then you're like I said, you're away at night. So I mean, it's overnight care. You can charge more based on that principle, but I think 400 would be a good negotiating price because the rate that she offered is not even minimum wage. And while it's helpful to you, it probably won't be. It's helpful to you because you're pregnant, but it probably will still affect your schedule during the day because now you're going to be tired during the day. Oh, I didn't think about your time with your husband too. So yeah, I would definitely consult with him and see what he says, but I would go about it just by saying because this rate is um under minimum wage and it's overnight, I wouldn't be able to accept the job for less than $400. And if you want to say like my lowest price that I would take would be, and you could say the amount that was minimum wage times 50 hours, but round it up. Like I don't want 360, 350, round up to 375 or something like that. And if it's going to be helpful to you because you're not able to work during the day right now or something, then try to work with her, but definitely don't let them take advantage. And how many children is it? Because you said kids. So that's the other thing. Like, I used to pay, I'm work two jobs during the day already, so I don't know. I'm debating if I even want to do it too. How old are the kids? Are they babies or are they older children? Like preschool, toddler age kids? That might be doing too much, honestly, to work a third job, 5 and 9. Oh, they're older. Okay, well, with them being older, actually, I think that the price she offered might be okay because those children are self sufficient in ways that like toddlers and babies are not. But I still think it's fair to ask for minimum wage at a minimum, so you could bring home the $400 a week. But 10 hours a night, that's still, gosh, I just feel like when are you sleeping if you're working another job? You're working two other jobs already, and then you're working this one. When are you going to have time to rest? Or are you going to be resting while you babysit? Like if the kids are asleep, you're going to be sleeping. She said I could cook, watch TV, and sleep too. I don't have to stay up, but I asked for 425 just now, and we'll see what she says. I wanted to leave room for negotiation. Okay, I think that's definitely going to leave you some room to negotiate for sure. She might come down and say, "Okay, I can't do 425. Will you take 350?" And that would kind of put you close to that minimum wage that you were looking for, which it would be like $7 an hour or something like that. See, 7 times 50. Yeah, 7 an hour, or yeah, 7 an hour, 5 days a week, 50 hours total. I think, y'all, my math is not giving today. I wasn't a math major in college, but I am pretty good with like money management. So 7 an hour times 10 hours, $70 a day times 5 days. 350. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. You're welcome. And yeah, if you can sleep, that'd be great. You just an adult in the house making sure nothing else goes wrong. And so I think that's chill for 350. It's just as long as the children don't have behavior problems and are not going to be keeping you up all night. Because if you have another job paying you more, you don't want it to affect your main job. Yeah, I made it through math, but that's not my favorite subject. I'm more of a, ooh, I'm coming on here yawning. I'm sleepy. But I'm more of a reading and writing and social studies than a math person. I didn't really care for science either. But yeah, thanks for asking me a question. I've been giving advice in a while. And I think the last time I went live, I had reached 14K. So I was just coming on to kind of talk about YouTube and goals for YouTube and thank everybody. And then we started talking about like tricks and tips and stuff. Today, I'm not even just thinking about YouTube. I'm really just thinking about like in general, like how can I set my life up for success? How can I get to, you know, security, long-term security that doesn't require a lot of strain and work. Um don't get me wrong, like I said, I'm grateful for what I've achieved. I love, what I'm doing. I'm really happy as far as, life has went in 2023 or 2022, but it's like I know that I want to have more flexibility in the future. And I know that I want, when I'm starting to work on expanding my family, I don't think I'll be able to be a mother of two with the way things are currently going. I'm going to need more time for me to do whatever I want to do. At the same time, I also want to make sure that I'll have stability because entrepreneurship is cool, but there is levels and it's definitely a lot of responsibilities that come with that. You have to understand how to set up your health care. You have to understand how to do your taxes properly. You have to understand how to insure yourself so you're not liable to getting sued by people. It's a lot. So if you want to go in that direction, you got to make sure that you're ready and that you know what you're doing so that you can be efficient and have a successful business. You don't want to just do it and not know what you're doing and then you end up going into debt behind it. Again, I'm pretty decent with money management, so I'm not necessarily worried about that, but excuse me, right now I feel like I don't have the time that I need. And then if I wanted to stay on the path I'm on and do like working full time, still doing content creation, but maybe I want to level up in skill. I've been thinking about going back to school and I just thought about how hectic the last 2 years has been not being in school and how much harder it would be to work full time, take care of my kid, and then also be trying to pursue a master's. But, I already have the perfect program that I would want to do, and it can take as little as a year. But I don't know if I could handle the workload that comes with a year. That would mean doing like, I think I don't remember how it's set up. I don't know if they're like mini mesters where I'm doing a new class every 8 weeks, or if it's set up where it's like undergrad where you would do like a semester and it's like from August to December, that's a semester. And then from January to May, that's a semester. If you want to do three in a year, you could do um 5 credit or five 3-hour credits to get 15 total. So 15 credits in the fall, 15 credits in the spring, and then you could possibly do like 3 to 6 credits in the summer and go like that. Or if it's set up different because it's a master's course. Like I guess I need to do some research and I need to probably see when the university that I'm considering is offering an open house so I can go and talk to the people that run the program, the professors that teach the courses to get a better understanding of how it would work because at this point I've been out of school for 7 years. I am a working professional and I'm not the same as I was when I just had finished undergrad. Like, I'm a whole mom, a wife, and I work full time in corporate America already. So it's like it's a different mindset. At the same time, is there's value in working and getting that experience and then going back to get a degree, because when you're working on assignments and you're working and learning about these different concepts, you have your work experience knowledge in addition to your undergrad knowledge. So it's like you will probably be able to understand certain concepts better. I did amazing in undergrad. I graduated with 3.8, never failed any classes, did great. And the only thing that I would say is sometimes when I was in my communications courses, learning about public relations, learning about just different things, I would feel like the experience was missing. So it's like you have that textbook knowledge, but you don't have any experience to go with it. And then when I was in undergrad, I got pregnant. So I did get to do an internship my senior year, but I was trying to graduate. So it wasn't that I didn't take it seriously, but imagine being like 4 and 5 months pregnant and just trying to get, I'm taking 18 credits of classes. Well, one of 3 credits was the internship. So I'm taking 15 additional credits of classes, doing the internship, and working part time on the weekends and dealing with all the stuff that you're dealing with to get ready for a baby. It was a lot. So it wasn't like I could focus on my career. I couldn't really focus on networking and building relationships and making the most of the internship. I couldn't even like research different places to do an internship to actually make sure that it was the best fit for what I wanted. I had a public relations internship and it was communications related. Like I worked on a newsletter for the company that I interned at. I did some like internal communications drafts. I did some PR events and that was fun. But that was all the experience I got. And then when I finished school, I ended up landing the job that I started with to take care of Josiah, but it really had nothing to do with my degree. So it was like I had to build myself up and work my way into a role that actually did work with the degree that I earned. And it took me 3 years to go from just some random entry level role that had nothing to do with my degree to actually getting into my field. Hey guys, also getting my master program. It goes 8 weeks, and getting my master's is more of a relaxed experience than getting my undergrad. Hey Erica, thank you so much for joining and for sharing that. I really probably should connect with you because you went to school with me and are you have an MBA and you're pursuing another degree. So I think the one you're pursuing is the one I'm interested in. And so you would have like some answers that I'm looking for. I guess I'm just nervous. Like I don't want to fail. I don't know why I'm thinking that way, but I also had scholarships in undergrad, so I didn't come out of pocket. But at the same time, like I have tuition reimbursement. So if I decided to make this investment in myself, I could probably pay for it, in increments and not go into debt doing it. If I had to take a loan, it would probably be a small loan. Like maybe after I pay my car off in 2023, I could replace the loan that I have for my car with going back to school. So maybe if I'm not ready to do it at, next year when I'm 30, I could do it for 2024 while I'm 30, but not before I turn 30. I turned 30 in May. But if I'm not ready by the fall, because my car is slated to be paid off October 2023, and the semester would probably start in August. So maybe I can shoot for January 2024, but go ahead and start going to open houses, start doing my research, um, start applying for the school that I'm interested in, and then maybe do a couple other schools as well, just in case. And then just kind of do some preparation to get myself ready mentally for it. Yeah, the MSLD program is the one I'm interested in. It's affordable, completely online. I like the professors. D I do want Josiah to go to college, but I don't want him to go if he doesn't know what he wants to do. Um he says he wants to go and play sports. He's also interested in Greek life. So currently he is interested in going. But at the same time, in elementary school this year, he's been having a lot of issues. So, and he doesn't like school. He doesn't like doing his work. So I'm trying to get him like on the right track. He's been doing better this week, but it's been a battle. We're trying to get him on that page of wanting to do the work, behave at school, focus in class, get things done. And so I understand that college is not for everyone. I understand because when I went to school, I was also a resident assistant. So I was like a mentor to a lot of younger students when I was a sophomore, a junior, and even a senior before I left. When I got pregnant, I was a RA still, but I left my spring semester so I could focus on graduating. So I was an RA for 2.5 years also. And so, like a lot of students that struggled in school, they did not, they were not ready mentally. Their parents made them go to school, or they went to school to get away from their parents, or they went to school thinking it was going to be one thing, but it ended up being another thing, or they went to school because they wanted to experience living on their own because they were in such a strict home before. They never had that freedom. They never got to make their own decisions. So they had to navigate that freedom without any parent guidance, without anyone to tell them right from wrong or watch them or, whatever. So it's like for people who struggle with discipline and self control, sometimes college, especially a 4 year college where you go away, you live on campus, you you have to kind of bend for yourself. That's gonna be hard for somebody who is not focused and doesn't know what they want to do. Now, if you started a community college, I feel like it's much easier to be successful if you're not sure of what you want to do, or if you didn't really have a strong high school experience. Like you were a C average high school student, you struggled a lot, but you still want to pursue something. I would say start and try to get an associate's from a community college and then transfer over, because going to a 4 year school when you don't have discipline is going to be really distracting. There's going to be cute boys and girls. There's going to be parties. There's going to be so many different things going on that it's going to be hard to be successful. And school is really a setup if you're not going to finish, because you're going to basically, and if you don't have money to pay for it full out, which most people don't, especially in Black and brown communities, like we just don't. A lot of the times we don't have a parent say, who, I'm going to pay for all this for you. Usually you have to take out a loan. So now you starting off your early years, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, whatever, with all these student loans and no degree. And a lot of the jobs in the world, non-entrepreneurial, require you to have a degree. So now you have some college on your resume, no degree, and you have this debt. And then you have to deal with surviving. And so I would not want my son to be put in that situation if he's not ready. If he tells me, like, I don't know if college is for me, I want to respect that and try to find him another solution. Let's get you a trade. Let's figure out a business that you can start. Let's do something else that's going to set you up for success, rather than let me send you off to school and you don't really want to do it, and then you fall into the traps of um distraction, and then you end up flunking out of school and now you owe all this money and you have no degree. Thank you, Erica. I went because I felt like I was supposed to, but had no direction, path, or clue. I changed my major 7 times in one semester. Oh, I understand. It's okay to change your mind though, because at the end of the day, if you just stay with it because you started, but you're not in it, when you get out, you're gonna have a degree, but you're not gonna use it. You're gonna have a degree and you're gonna want to go back to school and do something else, or you're gonna end up using the degree to get your foot in the door to get a job, but end up in a career that has absolutely nothing to do with your degree. Being an RA kind of taught me about diversity and equity and inclusion. It taught me about dealing with sensitive matters. It prepared me for HR. But when I was in school, I studied communications. I always knew I loved mentoring people, helping people, doing things for people, giving advice. And I always knew that I was passionate about HR, like HR things without the HR title, right? But at the end of the day, I also love writing, editing, and creating content. Hence why I'm a whole YouTuber. So it took me a while of the school space teaching me the things I learned in undergrad and then actually navigating the career world for me to realize like what my career interests are. Top 3 right now would definitely be anything with writing and creating content, like number 1. Number 2, HR, helping people, being a resource for people, giving information to people so that they can navigate their careers. And 3, like diversity, which is where I am now. Diversity and inclusion, the diversity, equity, inclusion, or anything in that similar space. So if I go back to school, I would want to learn more about human resources. And so the Masters of Strategic Leadership Development at my alma mater has a program that tailors to diversity and inclusion, managing people, people management. It has like a bunch of different skills that I did not learn in my undergrad degree that I'm realizing in my corporate like job that I would need to grow as a professional. And I will say this, you can get there without the degree. There are plenty of people who don't have a master's that are senior managers, whatever, managers, even directors. But if you don't have the degree, that means they need you to have several years of experience and you have to prove what you can do. And so I can spend a year in school and level up education wise and then have 2 to 3 years enroll and go ahead and move up. Or I may have to spend 5 to 7 years in a very, I would say mid level role because I'm currently in a senior role. Like if you're looking, you would be considered like not a manager, but like analyst, specialist, senior though, not like entry level, not like the first level. It's the second level. Third level would be manager, fourth level senior manager, fifth level director, sixth level senior director. That's kind of like how it goes, right? And so I say that to say you can get there without the degree. It's plenty of people I know that have done it without the extra degrees. But sometimes the degree is helpful because sometimes they will allow you to use a mix of education and experience to get to the next level. So it gives you that pass. At the same time, if you can prove that you're good at something with your tenure, you don't need the degree. So that's what I struggle with. I don't want the debt. I don't have debt. I don't have debt for my first degree because I had scholarships. So either I can start doing my own business, YouTube money, passive income money, earning enough to pay for my school out of pocket, no debt, or figure out a way to get a grant, plus using tuition reimbursement from my full-time job to pay for this degree. Something to where it doesn't put me in debt because debt is not what I want. Let's see. Oh, the debt is insane. My debt is insane. Sometimes I gotta laugh to keep from crying. I would definitely tell people to be mindful of debt. That's the main thing I tell people too. Debt is crazy. Now, but if you got all them degrees and then you go ahead and land you a job making 6 figures, you can start paying that debt off. You'll have it paid off in a few years. But the struggle that a lot of people have is they go to school, they get a degree, can't find a job. So then they go back to school, get another degree, find a job, but the job doesn't really pay them what they're worth with the master's. And so now you're working a job and you're making money, but you're not making enough to pay down the debt you got for getting this degree. So now you're working, trying to level up. You have these degrees, you're trying to gain the experience. Sometimes the people won't hire you because you lack experience, but you've been in school for 6 or 7 years. So it's like, ugh, I have education experience, but it's not enough to land me this job that's gonna pay me 100,000 a year because the 100,000 a year job, they looking for somebody who has 7 to 10 years of managerial experience and a master's degree with X amount of years of experience. So it's hard. Like I feel like we are set up for failure with this system that we have in place. Like, they want you to have a degree, but they also want you to have experience. But it's pretty difficult to have a relevant role and have the education at the same time. I would have never been able, like, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not trying to speak negatively over myself because I'm pretty capable, but I don't think I would have been able to handle the type of job that I have now or the role I had before, which would have been considered relevant to my degree, my comms degree, and pursue that undergrad degree at the same time. I barely could handle working at Chick-fil-A or working at Coca-Cola and, the places I worked part-time, let alone having to do a full-time entry-level role at the same time. Not to mention that I wouldn't have been hired because the role that I had in communications required a bachelor's degree. So that's the other thing. It's hard to get a job that pays you when you're pursuing a undergraduate degree. So it's like when I think about young professionals, when I think about high school students, when I think about young college students, it's extremely difficult for them to get the experience that they need to get them jobs that will pay them because they won't hire them. And when they do, they want folks to work for free, i.e., internships. And that's what's hard because it's like, now that I work for the company I work for, I'm not going to disclose that here. I never really do, I don't really do that. I mean, I just try to separate it because this has nothing to do with my full-time job. But I say that to say there are some great companies that pay their interns, but those jobs are hard to get. Those intern jobs that pay are extremely difficult to get. I remember being an undergrad trying to get an internship at Turner because Turner paid. Never got it. I ended up having to work at DeKalb Medical Center, I think it was called, and they didn't pay me. But some of the stuff I was doing, it taught me so much and it was a great learning experience. But the reality is a lot of college students need the money. They need the money. They're surviving. They're having to pay for groceries. They're having to get gas in their cars. If they don't have a car, they have to pay to get on the bus or Uber or whatever to get to these internships. So to be asking these young professionals to work for free and basically you offer them experience and occasional lunch every now and then, it's kind of sucky. My husband works at a university and his university's department that he supports has like a program where they do internships in the summer. It's like a program, it's like a summer program that pays high school and college students. And I just think that that's awesome. And I wish that I would have known more about things like that when I was 18, 19, 20, 21. If I would have known those things, I would have definitely taken advantage of it at that age. And I wouldn't have been so distracted by relationships because I spent a lot of my college years trying to be somebody's girlfriend. And not to say like those experiences didn't teach me and help me mold into the woman I am today, but I really would have been more intentional about what I did. And so anything that I would tell anyone, like young watching me or without kids, really focus on yourself and pouring into you and you finding those resources that are out there. Like, don't be afraid to do research. Whatever city you're in, do research. Look for the corporations that are in your city and see what kind of opportunities they have and go for it. What kind of grants are out there? What kind of learnings can you do? I'm about to see about some certifications as well because certifications pay you as well. There's a lot of people, women in tech, men in tech, whatever have you. They're making money by not necessarily getting a degree, but by going and getting a certification to learn how to do something on the computer. Coding, website development, all kinds of stuff you can learn in a course. And so then you could put that on your resume and that can help you level up. But tech is not for everyone. Like me personally, I'm a people person. I'm not a behind the scenes, behind the grid type person. Don't like interaction. I like interaction. I like to talk to people. I like to collaborate with people. I like to work in teams. That doesn't bother me. But for people who don't really like the public, tech is great. One other thing I want to say, this don't have nothing to do with what I was talking about, but I don't know if y'all saw these nurses from Emory in Atlanta, Georgia. They were talking about their icks on the internet on TikTok. And they were basically talking about women in like the maternity unit after they have babies and stuff, things that got on their nerves. Families wanting water, families coming up to the nurses desk asking for stuff, women saying they didn't want the epidural or whatever. And they ended up getting fired for venting about their patients. Oh, that is horrible, D. Wow. Thank you, D. I saw that you said I'm capable. I appreciate that. Yes, the system is flawed. Yeah, send me that video. That's crazy. So not only are you being mean, but you're being negligent. What I was about to say is two professions you don't need to be in if you do not like people. If you are a mean-spirited person, if you are a bully, you do not need to be a teacher and you do not need to be a nurse or in the doctor's office at all. When people are in the hospital, they are dealing with the most vulnerable times of their life. Whether they are there with a loved one that is ill or they are dealing with an illness that they have come across, whether it be car accident, whether it be surgery of some sort, whether it be stroke, heart attack, whatever have you. Having a baby, that is one of the most challenging things a woman can go through. You do not need to be a doctor or a nurse if you do not like people. You cannot, at some point, y'all gotta stop choosing careers for the money and do it because you care. You do not need to be working in that profession if you don't like people. When it comes to these kids are our future. If you are not in it, because first of all, teachers don't get paid like they deserve to get paid. If you are in it because you want the breaks, if you are in it because you want the reimbursement on your degree, but you don't care about these kids, you do not need to be a teacher. There are other careers where you don't have to deal with people that you can go into. Go into tech. It pays just as good as being a nurse. There are so many people in these jobs that do not need to be in these jobs. They are nasty, they are mean, they make people feel stupid. Like, listen, you are a doctor, you studied this stuff. The average person did not. They're not going to understand these terminologies, these big fancy words to explain what's going on with the body. Somebody that's dealing with their relative being sick, show some compassion. I understand that by seeing the same thing over and over and over again, it becomes like you get numb to it. You don't, it's like you see people die every day. So you have to separate yourself from it because it'll make you sick. Like attaching yourself, but just put yourself in that person's shoes. Like if it was your dad, if it was your sister, if it was your kid, you would want somebody to show compassion. If it was you in the hospital, you would want somebody to show compassion. And whether you're a nurse or not, or a doctor or not, and certain things get on your nerves, understand that most people are not necessarily just trying to get on your nerves. They're just trying to be there for their person that they're in the hospital with. And so if you don't like people, do not be a nurse. Do not be a doctor. Do not be a hospital staff member because it's just not. That's just not the role for you. I feel like you need to go find a role that's not dealing with people. Customer service will humble you. Okay. If you've ever worked customer service in retail or the food industry, you will definitely have a different level of respect and patience when going out to eat and when going to work with others because you realize how nasty people can be. I say all that to say people just have to remember to show compassion for others and pick professions because it's something you care about, not just the money. Because I've had a job that paid well, air quote, and been miserable. Being miserable and coming to work every day is just not, that's just not what it is. That's just not what I envision for my life. So find a way to do something that makes you happy and makes you money so that you can be a good person while doing it. Don't just do it because, oh, I make six figures, but I'm a nurse and I hate people. Like that just, to me, that never made sense. The video showed a sincere lack of compassion. And while it sucks that they lost their jobs, if there weren't any other reasons, like you said, someone lost their life. So if that in itself, plus this horrible video that made the hospital look extremely unprofessional, is an issue, then, you know, I'm not against them losing a job if that's why. But if it's just because they went on there venting, a lot of folks go on and vent. But I think people got to remember, like, if you're a psychiatrist, if you're in the hospital, if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, you deal with sensitive information. You have to be careful. People go on these TikTok rants, these YouTube rants. That's the main reason I'll tell you right now. I don't really do a lot of talking about my job because at the end of the day, you do not want your video going viral and you sitting here bashing your job, bashing a customer, giving out personally identifiable information. There are social media policies at these jobs. So when you get on there talking crap about your job, you are basically setting yourself up for grounds for termination. People get on the internet and they forget, like, you are being tracked. Everything you do can be found. And a lot of people are so bold with it that they will literally have their whole government name on their stuff, but then be talking about things that are inappropriate that can get them fired. Like, you gotta be smarter than that. You gotta know better than that, right? Like, and then even if you hate your job, you should never be on the internet talking about how much you hate your job in a written or video platform, especially if your government name is on those platforms, and especially if you are searching for a new job, because recruiters literally look through your social media. So you are setting yourself up for failure when you do stuff like that. But anyway, I didn't mean to go off into the soapbox, but that had been surfacing since last week. And I thought about it. It made me think, like, and some people that want to pursue being a nurse. And I just remember how mean spirited they are, even in the statuses they post on Facebook. And I'm like, I hope that you learn compassion before you get this, because if not, that may not be the role for you. Perhaps you could work in the hospital, but not be somebody's nurse. If you do not like people, you do not need to be a nurse. You cannot just go after it for the money. And I know that a lot of folks do. But the money can't be the only motivation. If you want to be a nurse, I recommend everyone start as a nurse assistant. That's what I did. Yeah, start as a nurse assistant. And also just start in a hospital, period. If you want to work in healthcare, I would say try to get you a job in the hospital. It don't matter if you are cleaning up the damn rooms. You will see and learn a lot just from observing and being around. And that will give you to understand what the culture of a hospital is like. I will say this, the pandemic was super eye-opening. Nurses were literally putting their lives on the line for this country. And a lot of nurses, good ones, left the industry because it was too much. And it really showed how much the country didn't care about the nurses. Like, y'all had nurses out here working and they were sick. You had nurses out here exposed to diseases that could kill them, didn't care. Yet, like, it was a lot. So I'm not in any way trying to discredit the work that a nurse must do. All I'm saying is you got to be in it for the right reason. Childbirth is literally traumatic. My doctor told me not to be scared of labor because my brain will block the trauma out and I won't remember it. I think she was trying to cover for me. I saw a teacher on TikTok say he made more working at Walmart than teaching. Whoa. I wonder if he was a manager, if he was just like a associate on the floor. We do. We need more women and men of color teaching and in healthcare. We need more male teachers. We need more male teachers and not just teaching freaking PE. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny, but we need more male teachers of color teaching math and reading and science. We don't just need them teaching the freaking PE class and coaching the different sports. We need them in the classrooms teaching the other stuff too. And when it comes to the healthcare field, I agree. We do need more doctors of color. I had an appointment for my son last week, and it felt so good that he was able. I have Kaiser. That he was able to see a black male doctor, an African American male doctor. I've never had an African American male doctor for Josiah. And Josiah seemed to resonate with him. He seemed to feel comfortable with him. The doctor seemed to understand Josiah, the concerns I had. Like, it was very reassuring. I have a black OBGYN. I'm going to go see her next week because I go every year I go. And so ever since I found her, I've stayed with her. I've had non um non-black doctors before, and sometimes I felt misunderstood. I had a diverse male OBGYN at a very young age. The experience was so traumatic. I never wanted a male doctor to see me again, let alone one that looked like that man, because there was a language barrier. He was not listening to me. Um, it was a very uncomfortable experience. And come to find out, when I saw another female doctor after that, the things that he did, he wasn't even supposed to be doing because I wasn't even sexually active. So I bring all that up to say, yes, representation matters. Having more women in the industry matters. Having more people of color matters. And even having like white doctors that listen to black people and not try to black and brown people, not trying to diminish when we say we're in pain. Like, it is so frustrating when people of color go to the doctor and we express, I'm having a pain, I'm dealing with this, I'm dealing with that, and you're dismissed. Or when you're a plus size person, the main thing that they always want to say to you is, oh, you just need to lose some weight. No, like, what the hell does that have to do with me telling you that I have a pain in my arm that wasn't there 2 years ago? Like, what the, like, like, it's not always about obesity. Like, women deal with PCOS. There's women big and small that deal with that. And if you're going to the doctor and you're saying, I have PCOS, my period cramps are horrible, my periods are irregular, like, what are you going to say to someone that isn't overweight? Like, I just feel like when you're a plus size woman, especially, you always get told, oh, well, you just need to lose some weight. You need to lose some weight. I'm telling you, like, my back is hurting, but this is post car accident. And, my boobs have grown. I'm asking for a breast reduction. Oh, well, you need to lose some weight. Okay. It's been 2 years. I'm down 45 pounds. Technically, my back does hurt a little less. But if I still want the breast reduction, are you going to continue to tell me that I need to lose weight? Or are you going to listen to what I'm telling you? Like, it's frustrating. Sometimes you have to keep going to different people to get respect and to be heard. And so that's where representation matters, because when you have people that look like you, sometimes they share those experiences that you have and they can advocate for you. But that's why allies are equally as important. Having people that don't look like you in the room to speak up for you is equally as important, because there is power in that. They already have the seats at the tables to be able to speak on our behalves. So it's important to have both black, both white, both brown. All of that is important because we need to work together to improve. Just like when it comes to like other communities that are discriminated against. When you think of like disabilities, when you think of people who are not heterosexual, you need people that are the majority, the popular thing, the non-minority, to be able to stand up and stand for those underrepresented groups for change to actually happen. Otherwise, we can advocate for ourselves all day, but if we're not the ones making the decisions, then we're really not going to make any progress. Making the most money I ever have and crying on my way home. Exactly. Or hating, like, you have your days off and you're depressed on your last day off because you have to go back to work. When I worked in healthcare, we weren't even supposed to have ourselves on our body when we're on the floor. So if you're saying that, D, You worked in healthcare and they're not supposed to have their cells on their body. They sitting there making a TikTok on the clock and you're not supposed to have your cell phones. You just got fired not because you made a TikTok, but because you were in your uniform at work making a TikTok on the clock. Like, at least be smart. That's all I can say. Like with YouTube, the thing that always protects me is that I do my content in advance and I schedule it. So even if a video does come out while I'm actually at work, there is no way in the hell that I filmed that video while I was at work that day. It's scheduled. The other thing is this: if you're on a break, if you're off the clock and you're venting in your non-work clothes, that's different. But it's pretty bold to be sitting there in your uniform with your name tag talking about people that you work with. Like that to me is just kind of dumb. And you just have to be mindful. You need to be sensitive about certain stuff. Like if you're going to say stuff, you need to try to be as mindful about what you're saying and who you're saying it about as possible, because if it goes viral, anything you say can and will be used against you, especially if you're making your job look bad. And Emory Midtown, I had my baby at Emory Midtown. I didn't have a bad experience there at all. It was a great experience. There was one nurse that made me cry though. I do remember that. I don't know if it was in my vlog. D, I'm gonna have to send you my vlog of when I had Josiah. I vlogged the whole experience, like from when my water broke to the time I had him and when we came home. It's all on my YouTube channel. But what I was gonna say is there was a nurse at Emory that made me cry. I don't know if she was one of the nurses in that video, but she had did like they would come in and check the cervix and like put their hand in there and stick stuff in there. And like I was crying because she did it so rough and it hurt. And I was crying. That was probably one of the worst parts of the experience. And I had mild contractions, but I wouldn't dilate. So I had to have a C-section with Josiah. So, I mean, overall, it wasn't a horrible experience. But the worst part was when she had checked something afterwards and she did it really rough and it was like uncomfortable. But overall, Emory Midtown was a good experience for me. I would want to have another baby there. I wouldn't mind having a baby there. She made her leave the room and ask for a different nurse. I would do that too because it is painful to have a baby. And if you're a nurse and you don't even have kids, how dare you tell somebody that they're being dramatic? How dare you? Baby, all you know is what you learned in a science book, my sis. You don't understand the pain that this woman is in. So, and that's another thing. That's literally diminishing a woman's pain. Like dramatic or not, this is a lot. And it's like your emotions are high, you have contractions coming in, you're uncomfortable. You got all these freaking wires tied to you. You have to take all of that crap with you to the bathroom every time you have to go to the bathroom. Not to mention that when you get to the third trimester, the baby is literally growing and sitting on your freaking bladder. So just because you're in labor doesn't mean you don't have to get up and go to the bath. Like, it's a lot. It is a lot. And if you're in a long labor where your baby is just kind of chilling in there, don't want to come out, it's uncomfortable. You can literally be in labor for over 24 hours just sitting there. Then if like trying to get comfortable, the nurses come in the room and they're being loud and stuff, and you finally get comfortable and fall asleep and there's a nurse trying to poke you and check you, or your family, if they're there, they can be a distraction. My dad was with me when I had Josiah. He's in there snoring like a grizzly bear while I'm trying to sleep. I was so aggravated. So, it's a lot. Like, and then you, like I said, you have a lot of emotions. And so you might be a little dramatic, but as long as you're not being mean, the same way I'm saying nurses shouldn't be mean, you should try not to be mean too. But again, if you just coming in here stabbing me with stuff, I'm liable to cuss your ass out because that hurts. Um, be mindful, be gentle. Typically, women are a little more gentle though with women than men are. Because, like I said, I had one horrible experience when I was 15 with a male OBGYN. Again, it was a language barrier, but that man it was horrible. Like, I was like, I do not want a male OBGYN again. Never. Like, no, I don't. But I do think when it comes to men and like little boys, it is helpful for them to have a guy doctor. I think women, I mean, some women prefer to have a male doctor, but I don't. And that's just probably because I'm traumatized. But I personally feel like it's good to have a woman because they can relate. When you're talking about specific issues that you're having, especially when it comes to like your vagina, you have a vagina, so you're gonna understand. It's just like if a man had an issue with his penis, I don't have a penis, so I can't help you with your penis. Just because I studied it in a book doesn't mean I understand. It's different when you're a woman and you have the anatomy that you studied and you go through menstruation. You've been through childbirth, potentially. You've delivered babies. Like it's just slightly different. Um, and that's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, I feel like this was an interesting conversation. We talked about a little bit of goals. We did some advice. We talked about nurses and doctors. I mean, it's just a lot. But at the end of the day, I am glad I came on here and talked to y'all. It's been an hour though, so I'm about to get off. D, feel free to text me. Um, don't be scared, D. Don't be scared. I mean, me telling you that is not gonna make it better, but it really look. Let me send you my vlog. That way you can see my first experience having a baby. Um, let me see. I'm about to find it for you. Miss Exclusive or Josiah Birth. I think I called it. Here we go. Did I only do a 10-minute video? What? Shout out to me for making this very long experience only 10 minutes. See you later, Erica. That video is for you. It's really not that bad. I would say, let me give you some advice since you're still here, D. First advice I would give you is to try to do some sort of activity to help you with your labor. I was lazy when I was pregnant. Um And the crazy thing is, before getting pregnant, I was very active. I used to go to the gym a lot. I do Zumba classes. I would do all kinds of like gym workouts. Um, I was pretty active. But once I found out I was pregnant, I was like, well, I'm pregnant now. Oh, well. So, my advice is if you're not already, try to eat healthier and try to be active. Even if active just means that you walk around your neighborhood or walk on a treadmill for 30 minutes 2 or 3 times a week. That will help you prepare for labor. Because I basically stopped working out for that full pregnancy, I think that could have possibly been the reason why I ended up having to have a C-section. Now, I did work for 38 out of, well, not 38 weeks. I worked from the point of me being, I want to say 4.5 months pregnant up to where I was 38 weeks pregnant. And I went on maternity leave at 38 weeks. So I also was an RA. So I was working while I was pregnant and not showing too. It was an emergency C-section because I was in labor for over two, like my water broke on the 14th and by the 15th in the morning, I mean by the 16th in the morning, he still hadn't came and I hadn't dilated more than 3 centimeters. So they were like, yeah, we're going to have to do a C-section because we tried to speed up your contractions. We tried to, it's in the video. You'll see it. He was not trying to come. So I had to have a C-section. and it was considered an emergency. Excuse me, an emergency, but it wasn't an emergency like they had to rush me real quick and all that. It was just like, that morning they came in and told me at like 11, "Hey, we're going to prepare you for a C-section at around 1:30 or so because you haven't dilated and you don't want to leave him in there too long because infection can happen. So we're going to do a C-section." So it wasn't like traumatizing or anything, but it was an unplanned C-section. I was expecting to have him vaginally, but I ended up having to do the C-section because I wouldn't dilate. The other thing is, what else? In the last trimester, just try to I know I nested. Most women nest. That means you try to do everything to get the room ready for the baby, getting diapers and setting her clothes up and, just putting everything in the closet and getting everything done that you can, because when you get home, you just want to get home and be able to use the stuff. You don't want to have to build a crib or do anything like that. I nested like when I was like 37 weeks pregnant. I had my baby shower, I think, when I was like 33 or 34 weeks. But at like 37, I was cleaning and organizing his closet and trying to get everything together. So I would recommend doing that too. And just try to keep your stress low. Like, keep your stress low. Yeah, so that's a lot. My recovery after the C-section, I only was in the hospital for one extra day. So I think I went in on the 14th and I was home by the 20th, I think. Um I think when you do a C-section, you stay an extra day than if you do a vaginal birth. So I don't remember. I think I had a fever or something after having the baby. So they separated us for a few hours and they brought us back together. And Josiah was fine. He didn't have any birth defects or, he wasn't underweight. He was exactly 7 pounds when he was born. So no issues. Um, so 4 days. Recovery was, I would say it took about 2 to 3 weeks. At 3 weeks mark, I want to say 3 weeks or 4 weeks. It might have been 3 weeks. I started walking. When I say walking, I mean like I was putting Josiah in the stroller and walking around the neighborhood with him at 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. It's a vlog on my channel of me doing it though. So if he wasn't 3 weeks, he might have been 4. But like as soon as my doctor told me like, get up, walk, try to, help your recovery process. And they would, my older relatives would say, you don't do too much. You don't want to cause yourself pain and like make your pregnancy, make your healing worse because you're trying to do too much. But I remember my doctor saying it's okay to walk, get up and walk and stuff like that. Now, the first week was the hardest because when you get a C-section, they cut your stomach. So when you cough, it hurts. When you laugh, it hurts. When you what else? If you when you move and to go up like what I'm doing right here, it's gonna hurt. It's like if you get a tummy tuck or anything else, like it's gonna hurt. If you get any sort of chest surgery or stomach surgery, when you move, it's gonna hurt. But it's not that bad. It's really not. It is mental. Like if you tell yourself, "Oh my gosh, this is horrible," then that's the way it's gonna be. But I will say, like, it really depends. Like, because I didn't dilate, I didn't make it to that painful point that most women make it to, where it's really uncomfortable and stuff. Hey, Alicia, how long was he in newborn diapers and clothes? I would not get a lot of newborn stuff because they grow really fast. Like you're gonna have your baby and then you're gonna have an appointment at 2 weeks and you'll have one at 1 month. Josiah was not in newborn stuff for more than a month. I ended up having to give like 4 or 5 packs of newborn diapers to another expecting mom that I went to school with who was having twins. Now, because she had twins, she actually used them longer because twins are usually um smaller than the average baby. Like when you have a single baby, the baby has more space in the belly to grow. But when you have two babies in your belly, they are limited on space. So they only gonna grow to be maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 pounds each. But realistically, it might be 4 pounds each because the average baby 7, 8, 9 pounds. So you'd have two 4.5 pound babies or something like that. So she was able to use my newborn diapers much longer than I used them on my son. My son was in size 1 by 1 month old. And then he was in 1 for a little while. And then he went to 2. And he was in 2 for a few months. And then he went to 3. And then 4. And then 5. So, but newborn, I would not buy a lot of newborn stuff. Maybe get some onesies and the cute little mittens for her hands so she won't scratch her face up. But I would not recommend a bunch of newborn stuff unless your baby is premature. If your baby is premature, then yeah, you're gonna need it. But your baby, if you make it to 37 weeks, consider that baby full term. You're not gonna need it. Okay, I get 1 pack of newborn diapers. I'll just get a newborn onesies. Yeah, and then also when you go to the hospital, at least here in Georgia, they're going to give you newborn Pampers. I know that we kept taking the Pampers every time a new nurse came on a different shift. I'd ask for more Pampers and I would store them away. So I took home several packets of newborn diapers from the hospital because they give them to you. They have size newborn and they have size 1. Now, if you have a really big baby, like if your baby is born over 8 pounds, your baby might be born and not even wear size newborn. But if your baby is like 5, 6, 7 pounds, they'll wear size newborn. Alicia, what you doing? Yes. She's not wrong. Like you can literally ask them for diapers. They are gonna charge you like $10,000, $12,000 for that visit. Get the diapers, get the applesauce, get whatever you want. Yes, take everything and even formula. If you are breastfeeding but you're gonna do formula too and they bring the formula in there to you, get that too. Cause when you get out of the hospital, there ain't gonna be no more freebies. They charge in the state of Texas. I was on Medicaid when I had my son too. But the next time I have a baby, I won't be on Medicaid because me and my husband make too much. So that's another reason why I'm trying to think of a master plan because I don't want to go into debt having a baby and I don't want to go into debt having like another degree if I go back to school. But I miss being on Medicaid, honey. Medicaid is the best. I tell Des that all the time. Medicaid me, please. Or Peach Care for Kids is similar to Medicaid. After they kicked me off Medicaid, I applied for Peach Care for Kids. Peach Care for Kids is great as well. And you can put your kid on it if you live in Georgia. If you don't qualify for Medicaid. But but you have a job. So like when I started working, I made too much, which 12.50 an hour is not a lot, but it was too much for Medicaid. So you could do Peach Care for Kids. But once you start to make like 15 an hour or more, you won't qualify for that either. So then you end up having to get the insurance through your job, which I'd rather make more money than to be sitting here struggling. I feel like Georgia wants folks to be making $7.25 an hour to give you the help you need. What I mean by that, WIC, food stamps, Medicaid, CAPS, which is the program that pays for your child care for you. They want you to be like not trying to make nothing of yourself, really, for them to help you out. But yeah, 12.50 was too much. Or let me say not 12.50. It was when I got a raise and I think my raise was going to put me at 14.50. It was too much. But essentially I remember when I was still like hourly making between 12 and $15 that they kicked me off because I was making too much. Too much. Air quote. Because I could barely afford childcare back then. So that's why I'm just like it's crazy to me. I was trying to like make better for myself and I needed the help at the time, but they weren't trying to help me out. I never qualified for food stamps. I got denied for CAPS. I temporarily had Medicaid and I had WIC. So WIC was helpful because I could purchase like food and stuff on there, fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. But when it came to trying to get the formula, Josiah started this is the other thing. I would try to start the baby off on a formula that is easy to get and that's not super expensive. Someone gifted me some liquid Enfamil, and um that's the first formula I gave Josiah. Well, that formula was not covered by WIC and it was super expensive. It was like 6 bottles for like 11.99, and then it eventually went up to like 15.99, and Lord knows how much it is now for 6 bottles. So when your baby is little, they're going to start with like 2 to 4 ounces of milk. As they get bigger, they're going to want 8 ounces of milk. You're gonna have to put cereal, Gerber cereal in to fill the baby up. And then when they get around, I think 7 months or so, you can start introducing them to baby foods like solids. I say that to say WIC covers formula, but it doesn't cover that formula that my child was drinking. So if you can try to put your child on a popular powdered formula, because that will be covered by WIC if you qualify for it. If you don't, then you're going to end up having to pay for your formula out of pocket. And that's expensive. And there were formula shortages during the pandemic. So it's like you can't really buy formula before the baby gets there because you have to test the formula on the baby so they know you know what they like. Once your baby likes a formula, it's hard to switch them. Like I tried to switch Josiah to a different formula and he would throw it up after he tried the first formula. So when I have my next baby, I'm going to try to give them the formula that the hospital recommends and not give them like, some formula somebody gave me at a baby shop. Like don't do that. But yeah, if you work full time, you probably won't qualify for those benefits because they really are trying to help the people at the very bottom of the, pay system. So if you are working full time and you making, 1,000, 2,000 a month, they're gonna say you don't need it. And at that point, you need to be trying to get something full time so you can put yourself on insurance so you can cover the baby or have your husband cover the baby on his insurance. But yeah, definitely watch that vlog that I put in the chat. It might help you feel better. I know when I was pregnant, um I would watch videos of other mommies in the hospital, their baby updates, stuff like that. It made me feel better. I've always liked watching other YouTubers and stuff, so I would recommend you do that. Like just look and watch vlogs, TikToks of other moms. Maybe watch pregnancy TikTok or yeah, pregnancy TikTok and mommy to be TikTok or whatever, and just kind of watch other people labor and delivery story. Like to me, that kind of helped ease my mind, and it'll help you. Yeah, it'll help. It'll help, and know that you have your husband there, and it may be painful a little bit or a lot, but it's not gonna be the like I don't know. You can get through it. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say what it's gonna be because I don't know what your experience will be. But what I'll say is you can get through it. And when you see your baby, you're gonna be so happy at the end. Like at the end, you're just gonna be like, oh my gosh, like this is my daughter. Like, oh my goodness, I'm a mom. You're gonna be so emotional and just so happy and so grateful for a beautiful, healthy baby that looks like you and your head. Like you're just gonna be happy. So that's all. Like focus on that and take care of you. I'm not opposed to you moving if you need to move, but try not to do it so close to when you're about to get birth, especially if you have to help move stuff. Like be careful. Um, don't overdo it. And really consider before you get this third job, D. That's a lot. That is a lot. Now, like I said, if you know that the kids are really gonna be asleep, they're older, they don't have behavior problems, your person is okay with you sleeping, then it might be okay. But it just sounds like a lot hearing you say that you're doing that and you're trying to do the other two things too. But I am about to get off because it's getting late and I have to get some rest because I haven't really been getting good rest this week, but it was so good to catch up with you and talk to you and other people that were here on my live. I appreciate y'all coming in and saying hey or checking in. I will try my best to come back next week. And if I do not, or if I do and I miss y'all, I just want you to know right now, if you're watching this, you're watching a replay, leave me some comments down below. Thank you so much for all your support and all of your kind words, your comments, sharing my videos, liking them. I appreciate all of that. And I also want to say that I hope you have a great Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. Happy New Year. I wish that the rest of this year is a peaceful end for you and that anything you're trying to root for and achieve in 2023, you're able to do that as long as it serves you. Okay. We're not trying to achieve things that don't serve us in 2023. We only going in the direction of things that do. But I'm going to get off, get some rest. Much love to everybody. And I will see and talk to y'all soon. Bye.